How's it going, creeps? Welcome to episode 20 of Cinema Creep, a Black Mass Films podcast where we dissect all things vile, disgusting, and downright terrifying in the world of horror cinema. I'm Justin.
And I'm Andrew.
And tonight we actually have a good Christmas horror flick. The last two episodes, we were a little harsh on those two movies, but it's because, honestly, they were fucking bad. So
yeah, they were pretty
before
bad.
we dive into this, obviously, we're sitting here drinking coffee, talking about horror films. We drink Everblack coffee here. That is our sponsor. Go check out everblackcoffee.com. They've got some really cool things going on over there. So you can order a bag of coffee. They've got some cool merch. They've got some t-shirts, and it's just all around rad coffee. It's ethically sourced, it's organic, and it tastes way better and is more fresh than any of the shit that you will go buy at the grocery store. So everblackcoffee.com, go get some. And tonight, I'm just gonna lay it out there. We're talking about Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah, and you're dressed the part.
Well,
I feel a little underdressed over here.
Partly the part. Hey, I told you I was going to, whether you did or not.
You still look like an unhinged Santa Claus, so yeah, I definitely would be a little nervous if I saw you in the mall.
No, I kind of look like if Brawny Paper Towels decided to do a Christmas edition.
But they had a very small budget.
Yeah.
Especially since I can see your brown mustache over the top of the white beard.
Okay, so if you're watching the video version, I've ripped off the mustache of this. So this is like just a little $3 thing that I got at it was either Walmart or like a dollar store, because I knew I wanted to do something for the Christmas special episode. And it was very hard to drink coffee with the mustache. So literally right before we started recording this, I ripped the mustache off. But it fits because in Silent Night, Deadly Night, Billy, our killer, he's just got the beard, and you can see his face. You can't see, there's no mustache. So yeah, I'm rocking just my all natural mustache. My mustache.
Just don't let your daughter see you. She'll be scarred for life.
Yeah, she didn't care for this too much. I already showed her. She likes the normal hat though, but I couldn't just do that. I had to do this. So, it is Christmas week, which means
it is. Hey,
actually, quick. By the time you're watching this, it is Christmas. And this year has flown by. This year's been like crazy anyway, but it's crazy to think it's already Christmas. Yeah, have you finished Christmas shopping yet?
My last package arrives on Christmas Eve, assuming it shows up. So, I'm done most of the way. How about yourself?
Well, I've got to get, so if you're listening to this and you're wondering, well, it's Christmas, why are they talking about that? So we're recording this on the 23rd. So tomorrow is Christmas Eve. So I've gotten all of my major stuff done. I need to get a couple gift cards and stuff like that, which, I'll do tomorrow. And then I've got to get to all the major gifts are done, but then I need to get the little candy and stuff like that to put in Katie's stocking and Poppy's stocking and stuff like that. So just little knickknacks. Your gift came already.
Yeah. Well,
I'm pretty stoked on it. Katie was like, do you want me to wrap this or put it in a bag? I said, I don't know. I'm still debating on if I'm actually going to give it to him or not. But it's in a bag.
Yeah, see, I got your gifts wrapped, and I was taking them out of the box, and I was showing Tawny, and she was more or less like, "You didn't buy one of those for yourself?" I'm like, "Nope." I'm like, "He's lucky that I'm even going to give this shit to him." So I said exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
And it's literally just stuff that I would use that I don't know why I haven't bought it for myself or nobody's bought me one of these things, because there's multiple things, but the bigger thing, I don't know why nobody has bought me one. And it's I don't know how many hints I have to continue to drop to everybody that this is the type of shit I use. Why do I not have this yet? But it is what it is. You'll have one. That means we have one.
Yeah. We share equipment. Mine. Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about what I got you. So what I got you isn't something that's necessarily useful. It is something that, no, you're going to like it though. And by useful, I'm saying it's not something that you're going to use practically.
I got your Amazon box.
Yeah. You are going to be like, hell yeah.
I'll play in it like a fucking cat for a while, and then I'll be done.
Yeah, since this episode's already this episode's airing on Christmas, I want to already mention it, but then it'd give away. So we'll let you guys know what we got each other in the New Year's episode.
Yeah, you
New
can
Year's
put a picture
Eve
of
episode.
it here, right? Like you can put a picture.
Yeah,
like in our video,
so,
if you watch this on YouTube.
So the thing that I got you is something that I actually was going to get myself. It's been out since August, I think. And I was like, oh, I got to pick that up. But it was just a thing. I was like, I'll do it later. So it's not something that you'll technically use. It is something that you're going to enjoy, and it's informative, and you're gonna be like, oh, hell yeah, I dig this. And it'll make a nice addition to, things. So that's it.
Whatever.
That's it for
okay.
Well, I'm trying not to give too many hints. So we're gonna hop off the Christmas gift thing because, like I said, this is the 23rd, so we don't know what each other got yet. So, but yeah.
So the thing about Christmas, man, this year is I'm a big holiday person. I mean, of course, Halloween is the one that wins my heart. But I've always done holidays big, and it's a big thing in my house to do them big and to make them special for my son. Because I have a 10-year-old, but he's to the age now where he's stopping giving a shit about pretty much anything that doesn't immediately give him satisfaction, right? So like he games, right? Like everybody does right now, kids especially. And that's his big thing, right? So he computer games, and a couple years back I bought him a pre-built gaming computer. And the way of those is they're always kind of pre-built or always sort of shit depending on what you get. Especially if it's sub, $1,000, it's normally pretty just shitty parts. Like they go the bare minimum, make it look cool with RGB, and then that's it. Right. So of course that lasted him a couple years, and I think the motherboard fried or something, some components, and it went bad. I'm not savvy enough to know exactly what went wrong with it. So I just built him another PC. So like his big gift, well, he has two big gifts, but one of his big gifts he already knows about. So he's kind of already well, it is what it is, man.
He's taking my quote.
Yeah, and he's like, it is what it is, man. Like Christmas is rad, but he's got other gifts, but the one that he was most excited about, I think, was the PC, because that's his fucking deal. So, Christmas is already I'm like, sayonara, see you the fuck later. Yeah. And I hate Christmas, it because the Christmas spirit in my house is low right now.
Yeah, well, it's low here too, but I think it's because we've both been so you and I have been working like crazy at our day job. Katie's been working at her job. And it's really, we've not had to, we put up a tree and we've got stuff on the door and decorated. But I think next year I'm going to try to do it bigger, because Christmas and Halloween are my two things. I think most of my bah humbugness towards Christmas comes from the fact that before Halloween is even over, there's Christmas shit and hardware stores and stuff. But Christmas always it gives me that stupid, lame ass, warm, sentimental feeling, just because when I was
Hallmark.
a kid.
Justin Hallmark James.
Well, no, not even that. So when I was a kid, my great grandmother used to always put up a tree. She had the lights outside the house, and a lot of her ornaments were just these really rad old ornaments from the 50s and 60s. And a lot of my family, that's the kind of decorations they had, what I call the Coca-Cola Santa Claus, that style Christmas. So that always just I don't know, makes me feel all stupid and all up in my feelings. And then Halloween just lets me feel fucking yeah. But
yeah, I'm the same way. The thing about Christmas is remembering as a kid, it was the only time my parents pretended to be good parents was at Christmas time. And it was just because they were trying to make up for being shitty the rest of the year. So it's kind of I always sort of had good Christmas, because that was the one time of year they decided they were going to invest their feelings in their kids and invest time with their children. And then the rest of the year they were just you know what, fuck these guys. Jack Daniels is my son. Captain Morgan is my daughter.
My son Jack.
Yeah. But yeah, so Christmas was always done big just for that reason as a kid. And, of course I parent a whole lot differently, but it's done big here normally, except for, the low morale of Christmas this year.
I think a lot of that comes to Christmas has just been a or this year has been a weird year in general. So enough of, our daily lives. We've got some things in the works. Actually, if you are more interested in that kind of stuff, we'll announce that once we start getting things rolling on that. But we're going to talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night from 1984. So I want to do things a little differently tonight because usually, and we're not going to stop, we like giving you guys the play-by-play of the films, but we're going to try to get through like the story beats of this a little bit quicker. So we've got some more time to talk about, like our thoughts on the film, how much better this one is than the last two Christmas horror films we did this year. And just, generally like give our thoughts and opinions on the film. And also talk about some things that, happen outside of the actual film, like how it was perceived and stuff like that. Because there's actually a lot of controversy surrounding this particular film. And I that's one thing, we'll come back to this once we get through like the story, but that's something that's weird to me, given that this wasn't the first Christmas horror film. I mean, I get like there's a specific reason why this one was taken that way, but I don't know.
Well, tell me about it. Tell me about why.
Okay, well, we'll just do this freely. So last week, we talked about Christmas Evil, right? So he was running around killing people. Well, a couple people dressed as Santa Claus. But this film, the reason it was so controversial is because the killer was dressed as Santa Claus, and this actually got pulled from theaters a week after its release. And there was like a big campaign against this film because there was this idea that to kids, there's only one Santa Claus. They don't understand that, the guy in the trailer for this movie, that the trailer included a lot of the Santa Claus stuff. The kids supposedly didn't understand that, this is a guy dressed as Santa. It's not the real Santa because to kids, there's only one Santa Claus. So this was giving kids this idea that Santa was evil and, killing people with a rad axe. So I just think that's weird because this came out in 84, but Christmas Evil already had a killer Santa Claus and was 1980. And then you had other horror Christmas films like Black Christmas in 74. And you had the same year as this Don't Open Till Christmas, which wasn't a killer Santa, but it was still a Christmas horror film. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand, I guess. But I honestly think that had I seen this trailer as a kid, like if I would have been of that age, I think it probably would have got me into horror a lot earlier because I don't know. I just think that it would have been something.
It's definitely off the wall.
Something rad to see like, Santa, just the case, like the poster, right? Just the cover art of him coming up the chimney with an axe.
Yeah.
I think as a kid, I would have been all up in that because as a kid, I watched shit like, Total Recall and Rambo was my stuff, right?
Fuck
so
yeah,
I
dude.
watched like overly violent movies because we all did in the late
dude,
80s,
I was watching
early
like
90s,
Terminator and RoboCop and Rambo and
yeah. And I mean, like literally something like this, I would have been like, oh shit, like I got to see that. And I probably would have got into horror a lot earlier had I seen that. But this movie also, Justin, was named Sleigh Ride during its production. Did you know about that? Sleigh Ride is an SLAY ride, which is a pretty gnarly name, right? Like I think that's pretty sick. And if nobody's using that, I think me and Justin are going to steal that. So, so Sleigh Ride, right? And then they ended up changing it to Silent Night, Deadly Night, which is also pretty awesome. But so this is a slasher through and through.
Dude, this film has so many like. This has gore. It's got sleaze. It's.
So we talked about this a little bit in the last episode about what dictates a slasher and what doesn't. But we both agree that this definitely is one, right? The body count on this is 13. Even though you really don't start getting a kill until about 30 minutes, 40 minutes into the film, I think.
The first couple aren't the actual like main antagonists. So this movie, I was doing some stuff. I always go. The dude does not know that we exist, but if any of you have not checked out Dead Meat's YouTube channel, Go check out that dude's stuff. He does kill count videos, and they are absolutely rad. The best kill counts on YouTube. He puts a lot of work into that production. But doing research for this episode, I watched his on Silent Night, Deadly Night, and the first episode or the first kill is 9 minutes into this film.
Right.
So,
yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're, so let me rephrase that. So our main villain in the film doesn't start killing people until about 44 minutes in. You know, of course, you have the 9 minute mark, 11-minute mark, and 12-minute mark. You have those kills, but once you hit the 44-minute mark, like you have one kill, like you have like 4 kills in 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's also it's not boring up to that point. Like, you know, we talked last week about Don't Open Till Christmas or Christmas Evil, and how it was such a slow burn up until finally he starts killing. Like, he kills a couple people, and it's just like the whole movie was like boring, right? This movie, I feel like what makes this is probably my second favorite Christmas slasher. It's not my second favorite Christmas horror film, but as far as like this kind of genre, this is second only to Black Christmas, because this one to me is just entertaining from front to back. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but it's fun. There's fun. There's rad kills. There's gore. There's laughable moments. Not like, ha ha, this is fucking hilarious knee slapper shit, but you know. So I feel like this one from the beginning to the end is entertaining.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely love this movie. It is probably in my top 3. You know, Black Christmas is number 1 for me. Number 2 is a toss-up. Probably, I don't know. I don't want to get into what number 2 is, because then I can name a whole bunch of movies, and I don't want to have to go there. But this is either number 2 or number 3. So,
Gremlins is my number 1 Christmas horror film, but that's like. I consider Gremlins like horror adjacent, because it's horror, but it's also like it's a Steven Spielberg horror. You know, it's not like It's not the same kind of horror as like Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Black Christmas. But Gremlins is like my go-to every December, and the Gremlins rag, the theme song, is my daughter's absolute favorite song in the world. She'll literally dance to it. But like I said, as far as slashers go, it's Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night. And then really after that, it's just kind of a free for all. Because this film has 4 sequels. Is it 4 or 5 sequels?
There's 5 of them.
Yeah. And
number 2 is literally a retelling of number 1.
Yeah. So it has to do with the younger brother of this, of the first one. And then I think 2 of them, he's in 2 of the sequels, right? He's the main character in 2 of the sequels. And then after that, it has nothing to do with this one anymore. And then didn't they like remake it, and it was called like Silent Night?
I don't even know, to be
but
honest with you.
Like it wasn't like a true remake, but it was like, oh, they're like, hey, let's take this concept and just call it Silent Night.
Well, I think when it starts getting to a certain number of sequels or certain numeration of movies, I just totally lose interest, because they just get shittier and shittier, especially when they started like in the 80s and they start going up into the 90s. You know that those numbers like 4 and 5 are normally going to be shit.
As much as it breaks my heart, I'm looking at you, Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're all like that, right?
Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I love them all, and I would watch them all. But I wish that they would have stopped at 2, you know? And that's how I feel about this movie. I mean, 2 is take it or leave it for me. But this one is definitely,
because the dude, I cannot remember what the younger brother's name is, but he runs that fucking guy over with the Jeep Wrangler a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You know, so there's cool shots like that. But if you guys have never seen part 2, it is literally the younger brother, which is played by, which is supposed to be the baby in this film. And it's him as he's growing up, and he's in an institution, and it's him just remembering everything that happened. But it is literally them just using the same movie footage from the
first 45 minutes of the second one is like a montage of shit from the first one.
Well, I read something like they didn't have enough budget to make a sequel, so they wanted to just take all the footage from the first film and cut it differently to make a sequel. And then they were like, no, well, actually, we've got to put a little bit of filler in here. And then that's when they started doing all the institution stuff. So they were really trying to pull the wool over like everybody's eyes. Just take the first film, cut it different, and be like, oh, guess what? Another bad Santa's back. And it's like, yeah, like we wouldn't have noticed, you know? But, you know, I guess that takes us into our first, well, no, I guess it doesn't. We're only at 20 minutes here.
Yeah, it ain't time for no commercial break yet. So, I mean, I guess, so for those of you who haven't seen this film, the synopsis is little Billy witnesses his parents getting killed by a Santa after being warned by his senile grandpa that Santa punishes those who are naughty. Now, Billy is 18 and out of an orphanage, and he has just become Santa himself. So, this movie opens up in 1971. Billy and his family, they go and they visit his grandpa, his dad's dad, at it's like a senior, like a nursing home kind of deal. But his grandpa, like, you know, he's unresponsive, he's nonverbal. And then, you know, the doctor comes in and he tells the dad, hey, you know, we can go over his charts and stuff. So they leave Billy behind. It's like, hey, you know, we'll be right back. And
yeah, shitty parent of the year award right there.
Yeah.
Let's just with this creepy old man that fucking, I mean, I know it's his dad, but like his grandfather, but like he hasn't talked in forever. Let's just leave him there with him.
Right.
Like, come on now.
Well, then so grandpa now like kind of creepily looks over at Billy and he starts giving him this spiel about, you know, Santa, or he tells him like Christmas is, you know, the what does he say? It's the most dangerous night of the year or something. And he tells him, he's like, you know, if you've not been good all year, Santa's going to punish you, basically, and gives him that whole talk. And then the parents come back and they get him and they're on their way back home and it's a long drive. It's nighttime now. Billy brings this up and they're like, no, like your grandpa's fucking crazy. Don't listen to this dude. Well, then lo and behold, like there's a Santa Claus in the middle of the road that we've previously been introduced to, right before this scene. Well, so this dude is a robber / killer. And he tells the dad, you know, dad's like, you need help. And he's like, actually, yeah, you know, I ran into some trouble. He pulls a gun out. The dad tries to take off. He shoots the dad in the face. Mom's screaming bloody murder. Billy says, fuck this, I'm out. Gets out of the car and runs and hides in the like ditch in the side of the road. Leaves his baby brother, who's literally a baby in a car seat, in the back. So now, like, Santa dude pulls mom out of the car, rips her like shirt open, like he's gonna rape her or something, and she's like, fuck no, and smacks the shit out of him. What is it with these Christmas movies and people smacking people?
I don't know, man. Good old Christmas.
This is three movies in a row.
Christmas slap me.
Yeah, so he gets pissed about that and he pulls out a switchblade and he slits her throat. And he's yelling to Billy. He's like, where are you, you little bastard? Like he's gonna kill Billy. But then like it flash forwards to like 1974. The guy, I guess, just ran off. Yeah, so he just ran off. And now Billy and his brother are in a Catholic orphanage, right? And Billy's like super traumatized. He's drawing all these crazy pictures of like dead Santa Claus and dead reindeer. And he gets punished for the pictures. He gets punished for leaving his room. The mother superior of this place like beats him with a belt. And finally she's like, okay, I know what'll fix your trauma. And tries to sit him on a Santa Claus. And Billy lays the Santa Claus the fuck out. Like busts his nose and everything.
Yeah, that scene was ridiculous. Because apparently Billy has like a lot of hate packed in that fist. Because when he hit him, he like flipped out of the chair basically. And he's like, what is wrong with this kid?
Yeah, he's like, what's that kid's problem? So then Billy runs off and he's like crouched in his room and he's hiding. And he's like, please don't punish me. Please don't punish me. And then it just kind of like dips to black, right? And then we fast forward to 1984. So one of the nuns is like hooking Billy up with a job at a toy store. And he's a stock boy now. And it's getting closer to Christmas time. Well, at first, like, let's talk about how he loves this job at first, because there's this whole like cheesy 80s montage of him stocking toys. There's a lot of rad Star Wars figures in there too. I don't know if you saw. There's like a Jabba the Hutt from the 80s.
The best thing about this montage is when he walks out of the back room and the coloring book is falling on the little like display, and he goes to fix it, and Mr. Sims, the owner of the store, comes out and he looks.
He gives him the nod of approval.
Nods his head up and down. Yeah, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, why would they do this in this movie? Like, it is quintessential 80s, but why would they put it in this movie? Like that whole thing didn't need to be there. They could have filled it with good dialogue or something.
I don't know if the song existed or if it was like written for that scene, because if you look it up on YouTube, everything is just Silent Night, Deadly Night. The song is called The Warm Side of the Door. But it's like the cheesiest 80s song. It's like, it sounds like some shit that you'd hear in like I don't know,
a sitcom.
Yeah, like an 80s like heartwarming sitcom. But now it's getting closer to Christmas, right? And they're putting up all these decorations, and he starts like zoning out, dissociating, and his boss is like, or the guy that works in the back with him is like, hey man, you better straighten your shit the fuck up. And he's like, just leave me alone,
okay? His name is Andy. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, he's like, leave me alone, okay? And so the closer it gets to Christmas, he starts losing his shit. And then the Santa they had coming he gets sick or injured or something, and he can't make it. So now Billy's got to do it. And then they have like this after hours like Christmas party. They're all getting drunk. And the girl that he's kind of interested in is fooling around with this dude in the back. And then he literally starts to try to rape her because she's like, no, I'm not into it. So Billy's watching this happen, and he's having a mental breakdown. And he finally snaps, and he kills the dude that's trying to rape the girl. And he like wraps Christmas lights around his neck and picks him up off the fucking ground and strangles him with Christmas lights.
Yeah, Billy's got a lot of hate.
Yeah, a lot of hate. So basically, literally from there, he goes on a killing spree in the toy store. He leaves the toy store, goes to kill some people out in the town. There's a manhunt out for him. He kills some sledders. We'll come back to that too, because that fucking kill is just awesome. It's basic, but it's awesome. And then he makes his way eventually back to the orphanage to get revenge on Mother Superior for the punishment that he received as a child. So that's literally like the breakdown, the beat sheet of the film. So we're going to take a quick sponsor break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to talk about certain parts of this film, what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it. And then I'm going to find out what Andrew's favorite kill is, because I know what mine is. So here is a word from our sponsor. How's it going, creeps? One quick mid-episode break to tell you a little more about our sponsor. Since 2016, Everblack Coffee Company has delivered exceptional single-origin coffee and high fives all over the world. They understand that a cup of coffee is so much more than something you drink. That's why they source their beans from farms that only use fair trade and organic growing practices. When you buy coffee from Everblack, you can be certain that you're getting the highest quality coffee available by ethical means only. It's time to start looking at coffee differently. Head over to everblackcoffee.com and grab a bag for yourself. It's deliciously dark. Now back to the show. So we've went over now the major beats of the story. I didn't like list off all the kills. So that's what I want to talk to you about now is the kills. Like, for one, compared to the other two films that we did for Christmas this year, this definitely has better kills. It has more kills. So what was your favorite kill, and what was your like least favorite kill?
My favorite kill is definitely going to be the guys on the sled, Mac, the one that gets decapitated.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is a gnarly kill, but it's also like pretty comical. Because Mac is such an asshole, him and his friend that show up, and they basically bully those kids into getting the sleds. And those kids are like, all right, whatever, you can have them, fuck you. And Mac and his friend, they're acting like it's the greatest thing in the world sledding down this hill. And
he's acting like he's doing some X Games shit too, because he's like, yeah, all right, hell yeah, you made it. Now watch this. I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah, and he's going all of 3.5 miles an hour.
Yeah, and he's going the exact same path that his friend just did.
Yeah. And sure enough, Billy is in the woods for some reason. We don't know how the fuck he gets there, but he's in the woods, and he jumps out and he chops his head off midway down the hill. And then his friend is at the bottom waiting for Mac to get there. And all he sees Mac come down on the sled, headless, and he starts screaming, and then Mac's head comes rolling down the hill. And I'm just like, that is fucking genius. Like, literally, I believe that they wrote this entire film around that kill. They were like, you know, it'd be a cool way to kill somebody. And then they just wrote the rest of the fucking movie.
Yeah. I think my favorite is probably when he puts the girl up on the deer head, because
good old Denise.
Because, you know, we see stuff like that in several films. I mean, even Lost Boys does like the impaled on antlers thing. But the reason I like it so much in this film is because this movie uses like nothing but practical effects. And it cuts to that shot of like the two front antlers like coming through her stomach or her sternum. Yeah. And it's just fucking gnarly and that he's like, he literally like picks her up and he's like, punish. Cause I mean, he says that throughout the movie. You know, he's quoting things that when he was a child and he was beat by Mother Superior at the Catholic orphanage, he's repeating all the things that she says, like, punish, you know, punishment is good, blah, blah, blah. So he picks her up and he says punish, and he like pushes her to this like mounted deer, you know, and you see the antlers like start poking through her sternum, and then he just sticks her up there. Now, the only thing I don't like about that kill is when her boyfriend finds her, he comes around the corner into the room through the door, and he's like looking for her. He's like, where you at, Denise? Where you at? And then now I understand like the reasoning. It's because it was like a cool shot, you know, when the camera finally like pans over a little bit and he's looking for her, and then she's behind him. It's just her legs dangling from the deer. And then he turns around and he's like, fuck. But
yeah, well, that's my second favorite kill. So, well, I mean, I definitely get where you're going with that. It's super gnarly.
Well, I just feel like, though, like, I mean, I like that shot, so I get why they did it. I just feel like the layout of that house, when he came through that door, he would have seen her, you know?
Right. Oh, for sure. For sure. That's Denise is played by Linnea Quigley, right? Mm-hmm. That's Trash from you know, our favorite cemetery stripper, Trash from Return of the Living Dead.
Yep. Good old Return. And, I can't. We will eventually get to those films, guys. I promise, because that is a series that I like every entry. So luckily we're only
20. We're a podcast with 20 episodes in. Like, that's why we're doing a lot of these movies. We got to get done first.
Yeah, and then we're going to talk about the shit that we fucking.
So she was. She was also in that movie. Love her in both films. She kind of plays the same part, which is like a topless fucking, you know, whatever. She was, I guess is what they call
typecast.
Well, not in, she's not a co-ed, and she's like a straight, like, street punk stripper, whatever, in Return of the Living Dead. Like, I love her character there because I've known people just like that throughout my life. Same. And every time I watch it, I fuck with my wife and I say, oh, look, here's your part. You're coming up. This is you right here. Every time. Like, she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yep, here you go.
Yep, but there you are. Look at you.
Yep. But so those are my two favorite kills as well. Like, did you have a second favorite, or?
My second, it's funny because my second favorite is the sled kill.
Yeah. Okay.
Just because that too, for one, it's fucking like I said, it's basic, but it's awesome. So it cuts to when he gets his head cut off, you know, he's going down the hill, and then it cuts to a POV shot. Mm-hmm. And all you see is like Billy's arms reach around from a tree, and he like baseball swings the axe and cuts his head off. And then when he gets to the bottom, the practical effects are just awesome. And there's, you know, he's headless and there's just blood like dripping from like the stump of his neck. But what's your least?
He killed Andy too, because Andy was a fucking asshole. The dude that starts trying to like force himself on Pamela in the stock room at the toy store.
Oh yeah,
I couldn't wait for that guy to fucking die.
Yeah, see that's up there. I don't have like necessarily a least favorite kill. There's some that's like for example, so the Santa that kills the parents, you know, we get the scene where he robs the convenience store and he just kind of shoots the guy in the head. But I mean, I do like because that was practical too. It's like,
that's gnarly because that's super realistic, though. You know, like
yeah.
You know,
like I'm saying, I'm not saying it's a bad kill. I'm just saying if I had to rate them, that would probably be like, nah. Well, no, the bottom tier would be when the cop shows up and shoots the fucking wrong Santa.
Yeah, I was about to say that was exactly what I was going to say. Kills Father O'Brien, shoots him 3 goddamn times in the back because he's like, "Oh, that must be the killer." It's like, no, there's probably other Santas running around. Haven't you seen fucking Don't Open Till Christmas? There's a million Santas running around at all
Yeah, but
fucking
see, this
times.
isn't in the UK, man.
True that. I guess we have like a limit on how many Santas run around in America.
Yeah, I love though
There
how he
fucking should
tells
be.
he like radio calls over to the sheriff who is now with one of the nuns from the orphanage, and they're on the way back there because they're like, Billy's got to be headed there. And he's like, yeah, the description doesn't match. This guy's like some old dude. And he's like, God damn it, the guy we're looking for is 18. Stay there until I get there. And I'm just like, really? Like, he just shot and killed somebody.
You know, like, you would think that that is the most far-fetched shit, but that is probably the most truthful, realistic scenario in this whole goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, guess what? Shitty officer, just stay on the fucking job and just continue to shoot innocent people, or potentially shoot innocent people.
Yep,
Kill
there
the
are
kids
children in there. You know, no big deal.
What the fuck? Yeah.
Ooh, another kill that I liked is the woman at the toy store where he shoots her with the bow and arrow. Like, I don't know.
Randall.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, she gets shot in the back, like shot in the fucking back with an arrow, right? That's what happens?
No, she turns around because she's trying to. So she tricks him. She's hiding on the other side of the shelves, and he swings, and she like pops out from somewhere else and knocks him down, picks up his axe, and is trying to break the window. And he's like, no, you're not going anywhere. And she turns around. And he's got a fucking bow and arrow, which it makes sense because it's not like an actual bow and arrow. It's like, I'm pretty sure I had that same one when I was a kid. It's not a toy, but it's like, you're not going to go hunting or something with it. It's like
it's my first bow and arrow kind of deal.
It's like an an archery beginners kind of thing. And she turns around and she's like, ah, and he shoots her right in the fucking chest.
Yeah.
So those are the fun kills. Like I said, the one that's just kind of like meh to me was the convenience store guy, and the the Father O'Brien was his name, I think.
Yeah, Father O'Brien. You know, the thing about this movie was it's, you know, we both talked about it. We both really like it. And all around, like, a lot of everything in it was good. Like, I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed, you know, the cinematography. You know, it wasn't something like crazy with weird cuts and shit like that, like the other two. And, you know, even the acting was pretty well rounded.
There was, I don't know if you noticed, this does have weird shit going on with the color, though.
Oh yeah, like when he gets when he's in the back stock room and he's watching Pamela and Andy.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden it gets really fucking dark.
Yeah. There's several times throughout the film where like the color changes. It's like it gets really yellow because some of the shots of this look fucking like great. Like it looks like it's like crystal clear and like perfect. And then there's other shots that look very like grindhouse kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's not even like it was the shot. It's like the way that it was edited and cut together. Something happened to the literal film negative. And because it happens in a shot, like it's not even a cut. It's like it looks one way and then it literally changes. So
somebody bumped the fucking shutter speed on the camera. All of a sudden it's shooting like off frame rate or something, or a different frame rate. And they're like, oh fuck. You know, they went from shooting, you know, like 24 frames per second to like 18.
Yeah.
Like, God damn it. Stay away from the camera. Stop putting your eggnog on the camera.
Yeah. But
yeah, I don't know, man. This is a good movie. Full of cheese and full of sleaze.
Yeah, I mean it's not without, like, you know, to be fair, it's not without its like moments that are just like, like we said, the montage of him like stocking the shelves and with the cheesy music and stuff like that. And then the ending is also kind of like, I think I would have liked the ending more if there wasn't an actual sequel, right? So it ends, he finally shows up at the orphanage and he comes in. One of the kids is like, hey, it's fucking Santa. And he literally lets him in. And then he's trying to kill Mother Superior. And just at the right time, Deus Ex Machina, the sheriff shows up and he shoots him and he kills him. So while he's laying there, he's dying. He tells the kids, he's like, you don't have to be afraid anymore. Santa's dead. But he drops the axe, and it's this cool shot of the camera's looking down at the axe, and then it tilts upward real slow, and it landed right in front of his brother, who is still in the orphanage. And he's got this pissed look on his face, and he looks at Mother Superior, and he says, naughty. And then it cuts to credits. So it's like, okay, well, now his brother just saw his older brother getting killed. And, it's like, oh, I'm about to fuck y'all up when I get older. But then they actually made a sequel. And I feel like if the sequel wasn't 45 minutes of the same footage that we just saw, then it would have worked. But I would have been perfectly fine if this film was a standalone and it ended the same way.
They couldn't have anything a standalone during that time period. You know that.
You can't nowadays
everybody
either.
Was money hungry. Well, yeah, but I mean, like back then it wasn't like, well, let's have a sequel. They're like, let's have 18 motherfucking sequels. It's a cash grab, and that's what I hate. Like, because you have a lot of times you'll have a really good vision on the first film, and it'll be one director, one writer or something like that. And then when it goes in the sequel, it's like the director's like, well, fuck, I'm not doing that again. So they're just like, the studio's like, let's just get fucking anybody. Let's get anybody. Maybe we'll have some of the same writers, maybe not. Who gives a fuck? We're going to make money regardless. So fuck it. It's not going to even be like the same shit.
Well, that's literally what happened with Halloween, after John Carpenter was like, look, I was done with this after the first one. Irvin Yablans and, Mustafa Akkad were like, you know what? Well, we're not, and we own the rights, motherfucker. So
yeah, but if you go further into that, Mustafa Akkad, he was like the one of the backbones of Halloween. You know what I mean? Because if it wasn't for him, Halloween 1 would have never even happened. Like 1978 would have never even been a thing. Yeah,
but just because he loved something and gave it birth doesn't mean that he didn't also kill it. So,
well, that's neither here nor there.
No, it's not.
Neither here nor there.
Speaking of Halloween, this film, let me pull up the poster because I like what it says on the cover there. So back in the day, I mean, now there's like other, versions of the poster and whatnot. But on the top, it says, you made it through Halloween. Now try and survive Christmas. And it's just like,
yeah, it gives a nod to Halloween,
fuck
right?
Yeah. Yeah, but then it's also like, you thought Halloween was a scary fucking holiday? Wait till you get a load of this guy.
Well, I mean, the thing about it too is like you expect, quote unquote bad shit to happen on Halloween. Like you don't expect bad stuff to happen, during Christmas because it's Jesus' birthday, man. What bad can happen on Jesus' birthday?
Debatable.
Yeah.
But
well, it is debatable, but that is the common societal way of thinking.
Well, to go along with that, I mean, it's like not only like, oh, what bad can happen on Christmas? Like, let's talk about Billy for a second. Like, so as a kid, he's like this annoying little fuck, in my opinion, right? But then, so there's two actors that play him as a kid. There's the one that plays him in 71. And then there's the little dude that plays him in 1974. But then the guy that plays him through the rest of the film when he's like on his killing spree, he looks like some fucking like Zach from Saved by the Bell kind of shit, It's not somebody that you would expect like is just going to run around killing people. Like he's this conventionally handsome dude and like he's supposed to be like this young strapping lad, Like even when the nun gets in the job at the toy store, the guy's like, I need a man for this job. I don't need some kid. And she's like, well, how about I let you meet him and you speak for yourself? And then it shows Billy and then it cuts back to Mr. Sims and he's got this grin on his face. He's like, he can start this week.
Well, it doesn't even just show Billy. It like goes from like his dick up to like his biceps and then like his face. And you're like,
yeah, it's like a full like up and down. Like, I'm like, they give him
what the fuck am I like? Okay,
they give him
I'm
the once over,
I guess. But when I think about this movie, man, like one of the most uneasy things that gets to me is the Mother Superior and the whole like St. Mary's orphanage. You know what I mean? Like, Yeah, that just like tying kids, like when she tied Billy to the bed and shit like that. I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean?
Well, what's
She's
even
the
more fucked
true
up
villain.
about that, dude? Yeah, but what's even more fucked up about that is she thinks like people like that, you know, not to go on like an extremist religion tirade or something, but people like that, they think that they're doing like the good, right? Like she doesn't have a malevolent intention. She thinks that she's literally trying to cure this kid and like make him see the light. And that's what's even more
I want him
scary.
to sit on Santa's lap.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, how the fuck do you think that's a good idea?
Right. Well, because the whole time that one nun is trying to tell her, like, you know, like we need to try to keep the triggers away from this kid. And she's like, I don't, she literally Mother Superior tells that nun, she's like, I told you before, I don't want to know what you think, or I'm not interested in what you think. But so
Sister Margaret, that was like his only chance.
Yeah. But so Mother Superior genuinely thinks that she, you know, is doing good, which that's like a real life thing. Like religious fanatics like that, it doesn't matter what your religion is. So I'm not trying to like discriminate, but like once you get to that extreme point where you're willing to like hurt others or, you know, deprive them of things to try to like,
when you're tying a kid to a fucking bed,
yeah, you got some fucking issues.
No matter what the fucking scenario is,
you've got some fucking issues.
You're a nutcase, and you need to reevaluate, you know, what you're doing with your life.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, I'm going to reevaluate it for you.
Yep. Hard.
That's a promise. Let Black Mass find out you're tying kids to beds.
Yep. Punish.
See Santa over there?
Yeah. I'll come out. You don't want it. You don't want it.
Anyways, this movie, Justin, super gnarly. It's a lot easier to talk about than the rest of them. I give it a 8 out of 10. This is up there on my yearly holiday watch.
Same.
So it is National Lampoon's A Christmas Vacation, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Black Christmas are the trifecta every year for me, because in my eyes, and if you guys agree, let me know, I think National Lampoon's A Christmas Vacation can be a horror movie, because there is nothing scarier than having a shitload of family in your house.
Yeah, we'll give it that horror adjacent title. Yeah. I definitely, that's one of my watches every year. Katie does not like that film. So
that's so weird.
I told her, I was like, you know, that's
she should have disclosed that before you guys got married.
Right. But so I watched that. So that, Gremlins, Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and as cliche as it is, Christmas Story every year. So those are my
Home Alone
5
guy.
Well,
Home Alone 1 and 2.
Well, Home Alone 1 and 2 also, and then now this is, in my opinion, the greatest Christmas movie ever. And if you say this isn't a Christmas movie, you're wrong. Don't at me. Motherfucking Die Hard is my...
Yeah, I don't feel as passionate about it as most people do.
Well, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. But...
yeah.
So, I mean, that's it. That's, Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'll also give it an 8. I'll give it an 8.5. 8 to 8.5 out of 10. And you guys should definitely go check this out. It's cheesy. You can't go into this expecting like a serious, a film, or then you're not going to have a good time. But it's schlocky, it's sleazy. Actually, let me go back to my list real quick. Batman Returns is also a Christmas film.
How the fuck were you in mid-sentence saying something and thinking something completely different?
Well, I was thinking of like schlocky films, and then I saw your Christmas lights and was like, oh,
what
yeah.
What the fuck are you trying to say? What the fuck are you trying to say?
I'm saying Batman Returns. And actually,
what's wrong with my Christmas lights?
I saw you, with your Paul Rubens looking ass, fucking playing Penguin's dad over there in Batman Returns.
It happens.
It happens. Do you remember years ago, like before we were like best friends, like I tweeted that and tagged you and was like, what the fuck? Paul Rubens in Batman Returns looks like Andrew Henderson.
I remember that, and I thought about that for a long time, and I was like, I'm going to kill this fucking guy. And then I fucking totally forgot it was you. And now I'm too invested in this friendship to go back and be like, you know what? I can't kill this guy, so it is what it is, man.
You can one day, maybe. So,
With kindness.
With kindness, yeah.
I'll do it every day.
So that his Christmas gift is actually a bomb. I'm gonna open it. Like, don't open till Christmas.
Yeah, get ready, motherfucker.
It's like from your dear best friend Andrew, and I sit back in my chair with some scotch, and I open it, and I blow the fuck up. But
I hope I get a new chair in 2021. That's what I hope. This chair,
me too. Because
sucks.
every time I edit the podcast, I have to go in whenever you're not speaking. Like, I'll see audio waveforms, and I'm like, I know that motherfucker didn't talk there, and I go look, and it's
yeah. Everybody, listen. This is what happens when I move in this chair. Of course, it's not going to do it.
Oh, it's not going to do it now.
No, of course not. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to do it now. But it's the
I'm
worst
sure
sound in
there's
the
a
world.
couple that I haven't edited out on accident, and people have heard it.
There's going to be some in this podcast.
Yep.
So that wraps it up for this episode, right? Like,
yeah,
that's done.
And I guess that's going to wrap us up for the year 2020. Our 20th episode was the final episode of 2020.
But expect us on New Year's Day.
You better believe it. So, with that, socials, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Justin James TV. You can find me on YouTube. You can find Black Mass Films at Black Mass Films on Instagram and Twitter. You can find Cinema Creep on Twitter at Cinema Creep Pod and on Instagram at Cinema Creep Podcast.
Yeah, and I can make fun of me on any of my socials. Everything is Drucifer, DREWXCIFER, rhymes with Lucifer. That's all I got.
Yeah, so hope you guys had a Merry Deathmas, and we will see you going into the new year. That is it for us.
See ya.